Good afternoon over there at Atwater High School. Basic shop skills, 5th period. Okay, so hopefully by now you guys have finished your warm-ups and you have taken out your notes in your packet for tool ID number 3. Okay, so as I progress through the slides, remember you guys are going to draw a picture, you're going to write down the name, and you need to write down the specific description. Okay? You got it? Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to get accomplished today is identify electrical supplies from description or visually by sight. All right, and we'll be able to explain the safety tool. So here we go, electrical metallic tubing. Okay, this is used for mechanical protection and for fire prevention. The walls are very thin and cannot be threaded. Threaded is a term used for galvanized pipe if you're going to make threads, okay? So you can put different faucets on it. It can be shaped and easily bent because it's really light in weight. It's manufactured in galvanized finish and is used inside only. Again, this is for fire protection. And you guys, when you're writing, only write down the underlined parts, okay? All right. I'll give you guys a minute here. This tubing is very shiny. You're going to see it inside your walls sometimes, okay? But it's not that common. Make sure you draw a picture that's clearly identifiable. And we're moving on. All right, rigid conduit. So this is very similar to the one we had last time. It does the same thing, gives mechanical protection to wires and it's fire protection, but it's smoother and requires special couplings and fittings. So that's what the threads are for, in order to connect it for fittings. It would be like a water pipe, but the problem is since it's so lightweight and it excludes moisture, it actually will freeze. In water pipe, you really don't want it to freeze because then it expands and bursts. And since it is so lightweight, it will burst. But the nice thing is when you do want to add fittings to it or cut it, you can use all those plumbing tools, which we have yet to discover, and that will be next semester. I'll give you a minute. Okay, we're going next. In 3, 2, 1. All right, PVC conduit. Now, PVC, when you think of that, it's that white pipe. It's plastic, you think. It's very commonly used in plumbing. I know that I've created several sprinklers out of PVC pipe, okay? But you can use it to run wires. And it just adds that protection, a cheap protection used for wires and, prevents against moisture building up inside because, moisture and electrical does not work out. Smooth inside, smooth outside. You don't really thread these. You can buy threaded fittings, but you want to cut and glue. And again, I'll teach you all this next semester. We can use saws to cut it or a PVC pipe cutter, which just squeezes and slices right through it. This is really commonly done in kind of temporary projects or cheap projects. Okay, we're going to go on in 3, 2, 1, next. Okay, ground rod. This looks a lot like the copper, okay? It's used to ground electrical systems. So it is copper. This actually will be shoved into the ground. It's shielded. It'll run all the way down to the ground somewhere where it's safe from an electrical service box or meter, okay? It's usually 5/8 inch in diameter, 8 feet long, so it's pretty long. When you ground it for real, it's really got to go in the ground pretty good so that way it can disperse that electrical current. Again, you guys are only writing down the underlined parts, hopefully. All right, I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1. This one is a ground rod clamp. So you know those clamps that we've been using in the boxes that hold the conduit? Okay, this holds the ground wire to the ground rod. It's a cast bronze device, so it's made of bronze, has an oval hole through it and one side drilled and tapped for a bolt, as you can see on the top portion right there. Okay, the clamp is placed on the grid, wires inserted and screws tightened on the wires, provides for good ground in the event of a power spike or lightning strike. Again, you get that excess flow of electrical current, and it needs some place to go because it'll overload the system. And that's why you need a ground. I hope you guys are drawing good pictures. Remember to write small. Okay, I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, these next ones are going to get very confusing because they're very, very similar. This one is a rigid elbow or sweep. Rigid. What do you think about rigid? That means tough. It's not as easy to bend. Okay, rigid is strong. So think about it in that way. It's a strong elbow. A sweep means it's not quite an elbow, a 90 degrees, but most of the time, the elbow, we're making 90-degree bends, especially in a house. But think about it, a house is a square, so it has corners. You need that elbow to get in the corners. It's threaded on both ends. Okay, there's threads on it, so you can hook up different devices. It's large inside. It's really nice to pull wires through it. Really handy in utility sheds. And it's usually, you can get them in different diameters. So you can get them at a 1/2 inch all the way to a 2 inch. It's very common to have 3/4 that are inside a utility barn or house. 2 inch is actually pretty big. That's a pretty big diameter. It's got to be a pretty big power source to have a 2 inch. Okay, I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1. An EMT sweep. See what I was saying? It's very, very similar. But the thing you notice is on the ends right here, there are no threads. Just like, hold up real quick. See, there's threads. Now on this side, there's no threads of the EMT sweep. So the sweep, again, it's not quite that 90-degree angle, that elbow, but it still has that nice curve. Okay. Really the only difference is the thin wall and has no threads. So it's thin wall, and that's, it's the same thing as the one before, just no threads, and it's a thinner wall. Okay, I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1. All right, PVC elbow or sweep. PVC is, it's PVC actually stands for what it's made of, but it's the plastic white. Now, you can make these or you can buy them. You can take PVC pipe, you heat it up with a blowtorch. I'll show you guys. Heat it up with a blowtorch, and then you take a tool, or you can bend it by hand, but basically that plastic, it becomes very soft. It's not melted, but it's very soft because you don't want to put the heat on too long, and you can curve it to the actual angle that you want. So it can be variable. It doesn't have to be 45 degrees or 90. It can be in between. Maybe you need a 60-degree bend. Who knows? It just depends on the job, what it takes. But the fact is, again, you want to run wire through it, and you got to get around a corner or the wall is different, then you're going to use, one of these elbows or sweeps, whatever type. And again, there's no threads. You can buy threaded pieces, but you still have to add them together through glue. It's called PVC cement. Okay, moving on in 3, 2, 1. An EMT coupling, or coupling, however you want to say it. Used for connecting the two different types of conduit together. So the conduit's going to go, one piece on this side, one piece on this side, and you can push these out, these two pieces from the center to go on that pipe. So say you have to cut a piece, or you have to put two together. You're going to use a coupling. It's usually made of a zinc and has a screw in each end to hold the conduit in it. Not my favorite, but it works. When you're in a pinch, you're desperate and you'll use all sorts of stuff. I have all kinds of stories, but I don't want to be saying it all over audio when you can't see my face. Okay, I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1. An EMT connector. You guys are going to write down the whole sentence here. So it connects the EMT conduit to a box, panel, or other threaded fittings. It's just like the clamps that we're using in our boxes, except for it's fitting it into a panel. It's a little bit more hardcore. It takes the conduit and connects it to those boxes or panels. It's not just clamping down wire. It's taking the whole pipe that is holding the wire and connecting it to that box. Okay. I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1. A rigid coupling. It's used to connect rigid conduit. Remember, rigid, it's tough, it's strong, it's not flexible. Okay, it is how it is in terms of if it's bent or if it's straight. It's threaded on both ends inside, because that threaded pipe, that threaded conduit will screw into this coupling. And it's made of galvanized steel. Word of the wise, don't ever weld galvanized steel. It produces chemicals that will make you sick. True story. Moving on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, a rigid entrance L, or ELL. This thing is used to make 90-degree bends. So this picture better depicts it. The pipe goes in here, and the conduit goes in here. So the wire is fed in a 90-degree angle. It's nice if you have to elevate something, the wire within the wall, or change direction. It makes a really nice 90-degree bend, and sometimes you can't get conduit that has a sharp enough elbow that will really sit in that wall. Well, in that case, you're going to use this entrance because this is a perfect 90 degree. Okay. And the wire can bend a lot easier freestanding than inside actual conduit or PVC. And the nice part is you can remove this cap. See how it has the screws? And there you can have access to all your wires for splicing. Okay, we're going to move on in 3. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, the service entrance cap. It's used as a weather-tight cap above the roof of homes. Okay, so this is outside. It's also on farm buildings and industrial buildings. Prevents water from entering the conduit at a point where the main power source is connected to the structure. So it's outside. It's really nice. It'll work on pretty much any of the different types of conduit. So any of the PVC or EMT, rigid, it's just very versatile because you can get them in either a cast aluminum or a PVC. And aluminum is a lot lighter than steel, and it's in some cases cheaper. All right, I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, 2 more seconds. 2, 1. All right, a rain tight hub. Rain tight. It's exactly what it sounds like. Everything's rain tight. Used to connect entrance conduit or riser to service panel or meter can. You basically will screw that conduit right onto here, and this is bolted to the panel. It's made of cast aluminum and has a flange with, the flange is the base right here, with pre-drilled holes for mounting to the panel and a threaded inlet for conduit. All right, we're going to go on in 3, 2, 1. All right, a PVC coupling. You guys can probably hear my cat's purring right now, my kitten, and she is tormenting me because I'm at home recording this. So sorry if you hear some noises. It's her being a pain in the butt. So this coupling is used to connect PVC conduit only. You don't use anything else. Okay, it's plastic only. And you use the PVC cement, and once it's connected, it's pretty much solid. The only way to remove it is if you cut it out, which is, again, you're going to have to replace it with a coupling. It's a waste. So if you're going to put one in, put it in. These have completely saved my butt. A few times while working out in the middle of fields, and people run over water lines, and you can't find the shutoff valve. Ugh. Fun times. Moving on in 3, 2, 1. A PVC male adapter. It's used to connect PVC conduit to outlet boxes, service panels, rain-tight hubs, and rigid conduit. Okay, this is a male adapter because the threads are on the outside. And haha, you can laugh if you want. it screws into a female adapter. All right, so this slips over the PVC pipe and this will thread into a female adapter. That's why it's a male. Threads are on the outside. Make sure when you draw the picture, you're drawing the threads on the outside. However you can, as best as you can. Okay, we're going to move on in 3, 2, 1. All right, a PVC. Oops, that was my kitten. Sorry. Stupid kitten. All right, stop. The PVC pull elbow type LB. LB is just it talks about where the cover is located. Okay, sorry, that was a kitten. Sorry. It's used to make 90-degree bends and has removable cap for splicing or pulling wire. It's just a PVC version of the other one. Okay, I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1. There we go. A strap nail drive. This gets driven into a wood structure. See how it has all these rigid, it looks like a bee stinger. Because once it sticks in, it's really hard to pull out and you'd be ripping a bigger hole, so it can never go back in. It's very secure. And once you hammer it in, the wire sits right here, or the tubing. Okay, so basically you hit it on the head, it drives into the wood, and it holds that pipe, the wire, very securely to a structure. Very, very commonly found in outside buildings. You know, like farm or utility buildings, old outhouses. And it's made with a cast zinc, so you don't have to worry about rusting. You have to be very careful with these because when you're putting them in the wood and you're hammering it, it could get your fingers because they're so skinny. You have to be pretty skilled. But I know you guys are all super skillful. Okay, I'm going to move on in 3, 2, 1. Conduit straps. So this is the same thing as the other one, but this one you literally screw down on either side and the pipe runs right here. So, and you can hang it to masonry walls, but do you guys remember what masonry means? I hope you guys are all thinking back to concrete. You can screw onto concrete. Or you can hit it with nails. It doesn't matter. So that's the only difference. You don't pound it in with a hammer. You use a nail or a screw. I think my kitten just fell asleep. Thank goodness. Okay, I'm gonna move on in 3, 2, 1. Oh, holy cannolis. That's it. Okay, folks. So now that we have finished going through Tool ID, fastest time ever, probably because I'm not there in front of you. You guys need to make sure that your warm-ups are completely filled out for the 3 days. Completely filled out, all of your tool IDs done, and I know that this sub is going to be collecting it. If I hear you guys have a bad sub report, I have videos on the list for next week when I'm absent. You will not be doing videos. I will actually redo my packets, get out a book. We do have a shop book, believe it or not. And I will scan a full chapter for you to read and complete the review at the end of the chapter. So you guys better have behaved during this presentation. Okay? On that note, you guys, I hope you have a great weekend and I'll see you on Monday. Remember, you guys need either to bring me $2 or have safety glasses. Capiche? Okay, guys, we'll talk to you later.